I'm Jackson Rudolph with Team Paul Mitchell Karate, and this is the tip of the month. For this first one, we're going to start off with the most basic strike of all of them, the forward strike. Even though the forward strike is the most fundamental strike in all of bow staff, it's the one that you see most in any form, it's also one of the more complex to explain and to understand as a student. So for a forward strike, I'll demonstrate full speed first. Feet together, chambered up at the right shoulder. Aya. Okay, so here's the breakdown. You're starting out in a thirds position. Right palm is up, left palm is down. Feet are together. Bow is chambered at the right shoulder. Your right hand should almost be touching that right ear. You'll step into a right leg front stance. The left hand will pull all the way down to the bottom of the bow, pinning the left hand to my left hip. My right arm will extend until the tip of my bow is at nose level. Then I'm going to rotate my wrist all the way over so that my palm is down. The number one part of this that students struggle with is the rotation of the wrist. There's three key reasons why we always rotate our wrist on forward strikes. First one is power. How many of you punch like this? I certainly don't, because you get much more power by being able to rotate and complete the technique. Same thing with forward strikes. If I strike like this, I'm not getting nearly as much power as when I rotate and fully extend. You can hear the snap of the gi better, and it creates a much stronger, more powerful technique. The second one is control. The primary striking position on a forward strike is going to be at the collarbones. When you're striking onto the collarbone, the strike is going to be going down onto the target. So as you go down onto the target, if my palm is facing up, it's very easy for my hand to pop right off the bow. However, if my wrist is turned over, my palm is down, as I strike my target, the bow is reinforced back into my hand. The third reason is for distance. One of the most important concepts of the bow is how long it is. It's the longest of the four major weapons, being kamas, nunchuck, sword, and bow. So we want to use that distance to our advantage. As you can see, when I extend a forward strike like this with my wrist turned up, I'm not getting near as much distance as when I fully extend my wrist and rotate this way. And you may only see that as a difference of 3 to 4 inches, but when you're in an actual self-defense scenario, those 3 to 4 inches can be the difference between a hit and a miss. And I like to teach bow staff particularly from a self-defense scenario because it is the most common self-defense weapon. Explain it to your students like this. What are your chances of looking down and finding a sword if you're getting jumped? Not super high. What are your chances of looking down and finding a stick? Significantly higher. So I always try to keep these in real terms. Because bow staff is such a practical weapon, we want these strikes to be used as practically as possible. So those are your tips for the forward strike. Making sure you get full extension of the elbow, left hand is chambered at the hip, target at the tip of the bow should be at the nose, and the wrist should be rotated all the way over for full extension. There are some styles that will tell you that the front stance with a forward strike is meant to be turned slightly to the side. Other styles will argue that it's turned straight forward. Generally, for competition, we keep everything straight forward because that's the more universal position. But if your style calls for a variation of the front stance, then go by whatever your style says, because everyone's style is the right style. Now, I'm Jackson Rudolph, and that is your forward strike tip of the month.